Hey everyone, welcome back to my main channel. I apologize, the lighting is so bad because there is a big rain coming in Dubai. And if you know what that means, it means everything's going to be flooded. So the lighting's terrible. Anyways, today we're talking about attachment styles. And in my opinion, attachment styles is one of the most important topics in psychology, and that you should know if you want to have healthy relationships and healthy friendships. It is the easiest way to understand somebody and also be able to predict their behavior. Also, if you're new to my channel, my name is Simone. I am a psychology graduate and I love to talk about science, spirituality and psychology and combine it all together on my channel. We have the 30-day rebirth challenge coming up. It starts January 1st and it's only $30 for the first cohort. So if you're interested, make sure you sign up here as we're beginning very, very soon. I've been reading off my notes because I wrote a lot. Now, you've probably heard of this book. If you watch this video, you won't even need to read this book because I'm giving you the 411, darling, like the full thing. I'm giving you everything you need to know. So firstly, what is attachment theory? Attachment theory talks about how humans bond to one another and how we form connections and relationships. And it's based on our early bonding experiences with our parents. And that typically shapes how we bond to everyone else for the rest of our lives. Bear in mind, it is difficult to change our attachment style. However, 1 in 4 people end up changing their attachment style. So it is definitely doable. And depending on your attachment style, you might be able to do it with more ease, or you might need to get a therapist, but you're gonna be an expert on attachment styles by the end. And I highly recommend sending this video to someone else as well, so they can learn about attachment styles, because the more people know, the better everyone's relationships are going to be. So in the 1950s, John Bowlby noticed that children who were separated from their parents during World War II were more traumatized than children who were not separated from their parents. And that's where his attachment theory came from. And it actually went against a lot of the psychological theories at the time, which basically said that our needs were pretty much just like food, water and shelter. He realized that we actually have a biological and innate need for attachment. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. And then in the 1960s, Mary Ainsworth discovered through the strange situation procedure that different caregiving patterns determined different attachment styles. And there are actually 4 attachment styles. There is secure, there is anxious, there is avoidant, and there is anxious avoidant. And we will be talking about all of them. Why does your attachment style matter? Because it will determine 80% of your relationship satisfaction. It controls the types of partners and friends you choose, how you act in these relationships and friendships, and why you panic when someone pulls away, or why you pull away when somebody gets close to you. And it operates mostly at an unconscious level. So how do our attachment styles form? Your early caregiver creates a mental template about, are you worthy of love? Can I trust people? Is the world safe? And what do I need to do in order to get my needs met? And this is the template that is running your relationships. So let's start with secure attachment, which is the healthiest attachment style. People who have a secure attachment style likely had a parent that was consistent and responsive with their caregiving. So when the child cried, your mum or your dad attended to your needs. They didn't just leave you in another room crying by yourself. Your parent was emotionally attuned to your needs as well. Your parent was tolerant of your emotions. They did not dismiss your emotions. They were consistent and flexible, and they provided a secure base for exploration. Let's go into anxious. People who are anxious attachment typically had an inconsistent caregiver. 1 minute, your parent was very responsive to your needs, the next minute they weren't. Their responsiveness was volatile and unpredictable. So the child ends up learning to monitor their parent very, very closely to figure out how to perform in order to get their needs met in that moment. Avoidant attachment. Your parent was very distant, or they were rejecting caregiving. So if you were crying, your parent likely just left you alone, or they told you to stop crying. You shouldn't be crying. So you were learned at an early age that your needs were not going to get met, that you cannot rely on other people to soothe you, that you have to self-soothe, or that you just need to dismiss your needs entirely. The child learns that being close and having connection is actually unsafe. And then we have fearful-avoidant, which is the rarest attachment style and the most complicated. If you're FA, you need to get therapy. I was an FA. I had to get therapy for it. This attachment style is so complicated and it's often linked to trauma. and you need to work with a therapist in order to get through this. If you're an FA, it means your caregiver was likely abusive or threatening, extremely hot and cold. A fearful avoidant attachment style develops when your caregiver is a source of comfort and danger. You experience abuse, severe neglect, or severe unpredictability. Child faces impossible paradoxes where you need the parent for safety, but your parent is a threat, and your nervous system can't organize a coherent response. And it's very hard because basically when people try to get close to you, you want that closeness, you crave it so much, but you're going to pull away from them because it's a threat, it's unsafe to you. But at the same time, while pulling away, you are anxious as hell because you want them so badly. And what this can lead to is staying in very, very toxic situations for you. My first relationship when I was like 19, extremely toxic. We were so terrible for each other. And that whole relationship was push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. If I knew my fearful avoidant attachment style back then, and I knew what my attachment style was, I don't think I would have been in that situation. I want to add that it is so important that you try to have a secure partner and you try to become secure yourself by doing therapy, by doing the work. Because say you're anxious, if you're with an avoidant partner, an avoidant is going to make you even more anxious. If you're anxious and you're with a secure partner, you're going to become secure actually. Like, this is the easiest attachment style to change. And especially if you're an FA, you need to work on finding a secure partner. But at the same time, if you are unregulated and you don't know your triggers and you don't know these behaviors, you're going to make your partner anxious, which is unfair to them. So you need to work on it. And actually my therapist last year is the one who diagnosed my attachment style and also my CPTSD. I was working with an amazing therapist from BetterHelp. So if you guys are interested in therapy, thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video, because BetterHelp is on a mission to making starting therapy easier. They will connect you with a credentialed therapist who is trained to listen to you and give you helpful, unbiased advice. All you need to do is fill out a questionnaire, and usually within a couple of days, they will connect you with a therapist that is right for you. My favorite part is if you do not connect with your therapist, because therapy is like dating, like you need to connect, you need to feel safe with them and get to know them. Especially if you're an FA, you don't feel safe with anyone. Like, I did not feel safe with 90% of my therapists because I just was like hypervigilant and I just felt unsafe. So if you're an FA, it's going to take you a little bit more time actually to find the right therapist for you. But what's great with BetterHelp is that you can switch at any time for free of charge. While if you were in person, you got to go get a new doctor's referral, drive to the clinic, wait on the wait list, and it's more expensive and time consuming. With BetterHelp, they literally have thousands of therapists that you can choose from, and you can read their bio and book an appointment like as soon as they're available. Even if it's not sponsored, I've gone non-BetterHelp, I've gone BetterHelp, and I always end up coming to BetterHelp because I can find what I need on here. And it's quick and it's very efficient, like from the comfort of my own home. And if you're someone like extremely dysregulated, which you will be if you have an FA attachment style, leaving home can be challenging for you as well. So with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 star rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. Use my code to get 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. If you're secure attachment, in relationships, you will be very comfortable expressing your needs and having intimacy without any fear. You won't want to pull away, you won't want to push, you will feel very safe and consistent. You will be able to express your needs without guilt and also be able to meet other people's needs and hold space for them. You'll be able to handle conflict calmly, you will be able to give and receive love, and you will be able to trust your partner despite there being disappointment. In your social life, you will make friends very easily, you'll have healthy boundaries, you'll be able to ask for help without shame, you'll be genuinely happy for other people's success, and you won't be too dependent or too independent. One thing I would like to add is, you see in a lot of self-help videos, people say you should always depend on yourself. This is not true. And likely these people actually have an avoidant attachment style. So there's something called a dependency paradox, and actually people who are able to depend on one another end up becoming more independent because they have secure attachment styles and a secure relationship that makes it safe for them to be independent and explore the world around them. Just like a child when they're forming their attachment style, if they have a stable, secure caregiver, They can go explore the world freely. They're not afraid of the world. True independence actually comes from secure attachment and being able to depend on other people. There's a quote I like that says, "If you want to take the road to independence and happiness, first find the right person to depend on and travel it down with them." Did you know that if you're holding hands, it reduces stress because it produces oxytocin? And if you have higher oxytocin, you will handle and resolve conflicts better and more calmly. And if you have low oxytocin and you're not having this physical chemistry with your partner, you're actually going to be more defensive during disagreements. So couples who regularly cuddle, they handle conflict a lot better. Quality time actually directly buffers against future conflicts. That's for you if you're hyper independent, because I know I used to be. Anxious attachment, they believe they're not really quite good enough. However, other people are amazing if they love me and give me attention. You will be very needy. You need approval. You're probably a people pleaser. If people pull away from you, you will notice. You will notice if someone texted you like 1 minute later than usual and you will be anxiously waiting for them. You might even spam them, "Hey, did I do something wrong?" And you won't be able to rest or regulate until you get that validation and response from them that everything is okay. They are described as needy and clingy. They want to spend every second with their partner. They are hyper vigilant to signs of withdrawal. So they misinterpret a casual comment as rejection. So anxious people, if someone sets a boundary and they're not like, they don't have a high EQ, they would just think, okay, something's wrong with me. Like they want to pull away from me. They hate me. Why do you hate me? They suppress their own needs to keep the peace, and they have an intense fear of abandonment. They have something called a protest behavior cycle. Something is going to activate their anxiety. Maybe their partner is distant, they're replying less, so they will end up protesting, which is reaching out for assurance, calling, texting, asking for quality time. They then get temporary relief where their partner responds, their anxiety decreases, and they feel loved. But there is also hypervigilance because they're afraid of this happening again. So they're constantly scanning for a threat, for a change. Then reactivation, the cycle happens again. And over time, you're exhausting your partner by doing this. And if you have an anxious attachment style, you need to know that you're pretty much wired to seek out toxic relationships. And you need to know that an activated attachment system does not equal passionate love. In fact, for a lot of people, when they meet a secure partner and you're going through the dating stages, it can seem extremely boring because that is safe, stable, consistent love that you have never experienced before. Dismissive avoidance. Very difficult. I have a lot of experience with DAs. This is how I deeply got into attachment styles actually, because I was dating a dismissive avoidant and that motherfucker was driving me crazy. So DAs have a core belief that I'm fine alone and I don't need anyone and other people are reliable and I'm amazing and you suck, pretty much. So in relationships, they are uncomfortable with intimacy and they will likely pull away from you. They do not have space to hold your emotions. It is overwhelming for them. They tend to withdraw when the relationship becomes real and emotionally demanding. They struggle to express feelings. They are described as emotionally unavailable and cold. They are typically successful because they just focus on themselves. The partner ends up feeling very lonely and emotional intimacy is very restricted. They have a couple of defense mechanisms, which is number one, deactivation. They will suppress attachment needs to focus on self-reliance. Emotional suppression, they block out their emotions. If they're sad, they'll be like, no, I don't really feel sad. They learned it as a child. Dismiss your needs. Compartmentalization, they separate the emotional from the practical life, and that's why they're seen as very cold. Counterdependence, they prove they don't need anyone through achievement. Projection, people are too needy. I'm just not a relationship person. I haven't met my person yet. The phantom ex, they tend to idealize past partners and compare the current unfavorably. So one thing that avoidants do, which is super annoying, is a lot of them leave their partners at the 6 to 8 months mark. They've had enough. They pull back, they come back 8 months later because you're the phantom ex. They now have idealized you because they've gotten that space, and in that space they can fantasize. And they like to focus on people's flaws as well. They focus on the worm, not the apple. 99 can be right, and they're gonna focus on that one thing, make it a big deal, and break up with you because they are looking for every reason to reject intimacy. That is how they are wired. And fearful avoidant, their belief is I'm broken, other people will hurt me, but I need them. So in relationships, you have a cycle of pursuing and withdrawing intensely. The partner never knows what version they're going to get. passionate, then they're hostile and distant the next moment. It is genuine love mixed with genuine fear, and they want to be held but they fear being trapped. They want intimacy but they expect you to betray them. With this attachment style, like, you just need therapy. Like, you really got to get therapy. And one thing I recommend is you cannot be with anyone who does not have a secure attachment style. I talked about this in my last video. Give them the attachment style test and figure out that person's attachment style, and if they're not secure, you need to GTFO, because they will make you even more unstable. When I was dating an avoidant, by the way, we only dated for like barely a month. It was very intense. Barely a month we dated, but I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I didn't know my attachment style then. I could not regulate myself because he would become so avoidant. My nervous system would be freaking out. By dating a secure person, and this goes for all attachment styles, you're able to learn again that connection and love and intimacy can be safe. That is how you heal an attachment style. Through these experiences, through learning that if I express my emotions, I'm not going to be abandoned. By relying on this person, I still am safe. I can get my needs met. That's why if you're just always trying to be single, that is not the way to heal, actually. And why is it important to know everyone in your life's attachment style if they're close to you and you care about them? You will know how to handle conflict and situations with them. For example, I had an anxious attachment friend, and I actually didn't want to bring conflict up with her for a very long time because I knew her pattern and I knew she would freak out. So I had to ensure that I saw her in real life and actually like had physical touch, like held her hand, reassured her that I love her, you're a good person, this is bothering me. While if I just did it over text, she would have freaked out. And I did like the wrong thing with another friend. I did it over text. She was anxious attachment, so predictable what happened. Pretty much like her immediate response was apology, connection, and then space, pull away, self-preservation. I did nothing wrong, actually. I think she was actually a combination of anxious avoidant, and yeah, self-preservation kicks in. I did nothing wrong, you're the villain, actually, goodbye. Avoidants tend to do that too. When you're dating someone anxious, you also know that they just want reassurance from you, and if you're able to be stable and consistent with them, over time they're going to exhibit more secure traits. If you don't know their attachment style and you don't have effective communication, you're just going to make them even more anxious. And you might say, this is not my responsibility. Babe, if you're dating and you love them, while it is equal parts their responsibility as well, you are also responsible for being consistent and being a loving, healthy partner. So what is the science behind healing? Your nervous system has learned as a child that these patterns are the truth. This is how the world is, this is how everyone will treat me, but they're actually learned behaviors which can be unlearned. So an anxious person needs to express need, and their partner needs to accept it and not abandon you. An avoidant person needs to be vulnerable and not experience rejection. A fearful avoidant needs consistent safety. People won't be threatening to them anymore. Especially like when you're choosing your therapist, by the way, make sure they're consistent. If you're an FA, you're going to notice if your therapist is not consistent. So the key is repetition, because the nervous system learns through repeated experiences and not thinking, which is why you can't exactly think yourself into a secure attachment style. You need to have a person to regulate with, actually, to teach you that these experiences are safe. Overall, it's so important that in your relationships and your friendships, you try to have empathy and healthy communication strategies. You learn that expressing your needs does not really backfire. And if it does, they're not the person for you. Watch my dating video, the previous dating video I made. Always express your needs. Express what you need to say, what's on your mind. If something bothered me, I used to just go silent and pull back, and then one day, explode. Nope, I don't do that anymore. I communicate in a healthy way, and it is seriously life-changing. And you might not even realize you're not communicating in a healthy way, by the way. You might think, oh, I'm gonna scare them off. If you scare them off, they're not the person for you. They cannot handle you. They will make you even more agitated and activated, so forget about it. By the way, guys, I have this whole document. I think it's like, how long is it? I don't know, it's like 30 pages or something. It's for free. It will go into even more things I didn't talk about in this video, and specific game plans for your attachment style, what to do, what not to say, like It's very long, and I also have a summary of the attachment style book. So if you want to download it for free, you can get it on the Mind Formula. Bear in mind that this is subscribing to my newsletter. Guys, I have just started my newsletter. If you want to get letters from me once or twice per week with insights into psychology, the brain, manifestation, spirituality, whatever, then make sure you go sign up on the Mind Formula. Just scroll to the bottom of the website, or when you download a product from the Mind Formula, you're automatically going to be subscribed to the list anyways. So don't forget, Rebirth Challenge starting January 1st, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Ich liebe dich. Tschüss.